Thanks for tuning in, folks. T-Bone here with Rayleigh's Small Engines. Today we're going to work on an Ariens. Has a 20 horsepower Briggs and Stratton. Customer says surges and dies. So we're going to take a step-by-step on how to fix it. Now I've already checked the oil. When you check, first thing you do before you start one, check the oil, especially looking for to see if it is overfilled. Now, also smell that dipstick. See if you smell gas or if you just smell oil. That gives you a telltale sign if there is a problem with the carburetor if you smell gas. So let's go step by step and I'll show you how we're going to check this. Now I believe the battery is no good in this thing from when the customer dropped it off. I've already set the brake. Yeah, it's set. Let's see, battery dead. Let's jump it off. All right, let's see what it acts like. Okay, I hope you could hear that. Now, what we're going to do first, number one, let's get this hood out of the way. All you have to do is unplug that little wire there for the headlight and lift the hood off. Give me a second, let me get that and I'll get you set up and show you step by step how we figure out what's wrong with this machine. Stand by, guys and gals. All right, so two tools. Spark tester and some brake cleaner or carburetor cleaner. Make sure it's flammable, not the non-flammable stuff. In my experience, the way this sounds to me, it sounds like a fuel issue, but the way to figure out which one it is, put the spark tester on there. We're going to see if it's sparking when it dies, when you go to try to restart it. If it doesn't want to restart, we'll shoot a little of this in the air cleaner, and if it runs, then we know we're starving for fuel. So we have to figure out which one is our problem. I'm going to pull this air cleaner top off and I'm going to put this spark tester on and we'll see what's happening with this thing. Careful not to burn your hand down here, because this is right by the muffler. We'll hook these up. Maybe. There we go. Let's see if you guys can see that, I hope. I believe you'll be able to see some spark. I'm not pausing this a lot because I want you to see exactly what I'm doing to diagnose this problem. And the reason I'm going to go ahead and have this off is when it dies, I'm going to shoot it and see if she'll fire back up. Okay, air filter out of the way. Let's fire this thing back up, or if it'll start. You can see we got a good spark down there. Yeah, you can see it. All right, when it goes to die, I'm going to shoot it with some brake cleaner. spark. Here it goes. You can hear it starting to pop back. We're watching that spark real close. I'm still seeing fire. The reason it's dying out is because the engine is surging and going down. We had spark all the way to the end. I shot that brake cleaner into the air cleaner there, and you heard it was straightening it back up. So we know there's a fuel problem. Let me move this camera and I'm gonna get you down where you can see what I'm gonna do to the carburetor area. Okay, now, excuse my noisy stool. You don't have to use Maxwell House, you can use Folgers or whatever you have. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna disconnect the fuel line here. And this is a gravity feed system, so we're going to make sure that we've got, or see if we've got plenty of fuel coming through this fuel line. Sometimes you'll have a stopped up filter. The inside of the fuel line could be coming apart. Also, always check, I have a previous video on the gas cap. The gasket will come loose on the gas cap. I've already looked in the tank, that's not the problem. But the gas cap gasket will come loose and stop it up from coming out of the fuel tank. So let's see, I'm gonna set my little thing there. I'm just gonna block this off for a second. We're gonna see if we have gas coming out of this fuel line. And that's gonna direct us whether we need to go that way in our diagnosis or that way, okay? So let's pull this off, see if we're getting gas. Already, no, I guess it's not dirt. Let's see what this does. Looks to me, it's not a carburetor issue, okay? See, it's just barely running out of there. It's running out of gas. All right, so now let's step back to the next place. Well, that's what I say, we're gonna work our way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect here. I'm going to take the fuel filter and all off. You can do this one, then see if you got gas, but we're going to put a new fuel filter on it regardless. Let's see if I can get this off. I'm going to try and save as much of that gas as possible in case that is our issue. Okay, let me be sure you guys can see this. Yeah, I think you can see. All right, let's see what this does. Barely dripping out. Okay, that's not our problem, is further back. So it must be an issue in the fuel tank. Let's see, does this run out? This is just a fuel filter and you can see there's gas in there. Yep, see it just run right out? Okay, so we know that's not the problem. Now this thing's got about a half tank of fuel in it. Okay, so give me a second. I'm gonna remove this bolt. I'm gonna pause you 1 second, show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, sorry, I had to get the gas off my hands. So we're gonna remove this bolt and the bolt on, well, right there. There you go. And this little cover here will come off. And then we're going to see if we can lift that fuel tank out. I'm not sure if it'll go past this cover or not. It may or may not. We'll see. If we have to, we'll pull this cover off, because we're going to pull this fuel tank and see what the problem is. Stand by and I'm going to pull this stuff off right quick. Just 2 bolts. Well, I guess y'all going to watch. 3/8 up in here. That takes too doggone long. Anyway, that's all you got, that's all you got. Then you throw your socket in the oil bucket. Look at that. Won't rust that way, will it? I'm not going to throw it in an oil bucket on the other side because there's not one. Oh. I know, corny. gonna slide right out. Let's see. Nope, it's not gonna be that easy. So what we have is 4 bolts to loosen this housing. There's usually a little 1/4-inch screw right there, but it's missing on this machine. So let's buzz these 4 bolts off the blower housing and we'll lift it off. All right, 3/8. Some of these you don't have to take all the way out because there'll be notch right there at the bottom. Some of them you do. Now I could take these screws out of the dash here and lift it up, but the reason I want to take this off is because I want to look around in here, see if I see any rats been in there making nests or whatever. So now these bolts, just so you know, there's a short shoulder and a long shoulder, long to the rear, short to the front on this engine. Our bolts are out, cover lifts off. I'm looking in here at all these fins and stuff, making sure all that stuff looks good and clean. The air-cooled engine, these get stopped up, engine runs hot, not good. Now let's see, will this tank come out with these? I doubt it. There you go. Now I do notice I have a little leak right here. So these elbows are really bad about clogging up. I'll stand by and let me get another rag here. All right, so what we want to check is this elbow. That's where I think the problem is going to be, unless the inside of that line is deteriorated. Okay. Now this should, without breaking, hopefully pull out of this tank. And these are not hard to put back together. Okay. This was leaking anyway, so we're going to replace this boot. Let's see, is this full of dirt? And we can do that by shining a flashlight in here. Let's see if I can get you where you can see. Well, if I can see what I'm doing. See, I see that light. So the elbow is okay. So I'm about betting this fuel line might be bad. Well, folks, I found our problem. I'm gonna get our bore scope, and there's another video on that. Let's see if you can see this. It is a bad fuel line causing our problem. Let me get my bore scope. Stand by. Now this bore scope, I'll put a link to this down in the description. I did a little 18-second record with it, and you can see the inside of that fuel line. And my fault when my camera worked there. See how it's constricted in there? And that's what's slowing up your fuel flow. So all we've got to do is replace the fuel line. Okay, folks, we're going to put in a new tank bushing. Rotary number is 7730. That's our new tank bushing. And line, we're going to put in some 1/4 inch fuel line. Anything will do. Well, not anything. Get a good name. Get the cheapy stuff. You want something good. And I'm just going to measure this off. What we're going to do, cut this. Okay. We're going to go ahead and remove our clamps. We don't need that. Put this one on. Put this one on. Now, to get this back together, let me blow this out just to be sure. I'm going to do a little air hose. I mean, I know it's good and clear. It's clean on the inside. To get this back together so that it doesn't leak, I always use a little Vaseline. And do this. Makes it easier to go in, and you're going to do the same thing to that. So, just make sure that this is clean. Take our bushing, slide it right in. See how easy? Okay, a little more Vaseline. And you can use a little grease, but don't, if you're packing grease, don't pack it in there because it'll stop it up. The gas will kind of break this stuff right up. Little WD-40, PV blaster, about anything. Now this will take a little bit of pressure. Work it. There it is. She's in there. Okay. Well, let me slip this fuel tank back in, and I'm going to get a fuel filter. We're going to put a new fuel filter on here, and I'm going to replace that other line. If one's gone, the other one's not far behind, so I'm not doing it halfway. So all we've got to do is push this back on. A little clampage. There we are. All right, let me go get a fuel filter, and we're going to put this thing back together and see if we fixed it. I think we did, guys and gals. All right. Next thing we're going to put a fuel filter on. There's an arrow on here, shows you what direction. This is a 10352. It's actually a Kawasaki, or made for Kawasaki. I've said it before. I use them on everything. Good fuel filter, plenty of flow, and a lot better than those little red or white ones that's just a screen. Those are terrible. They're good to throw in the trash. We're going to replace this fuel line here also. Let's see how much gas I can get on me pulling this apart. We don't need that. Don't know why I was sitting there holding it. Hope everybody's doing well today. I want to give a little shout out to our subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of you subscribing to our channel. We appreciate the ones that aren't subscribed, just watching our channel. About there looks good. You don't want to kink this too much. This one, the factory hose has got an elbow to it. We're putting a straight line on it. It'll be fine. Not my first rodeo. Tell you what, let's see if we got some good fuel flow. Yeah, buddy. I think we have solved our issue, folks. Give me a second, I'm going to slip this cover back down on here and get some bolts on it. Let's see how the doggone thing runs. Make sure you hear that little click. It's in there good. Excuse me. Look over everything. Looks okay to me. Y'all think it'll run? Well, folks, we know we fixed the problem because we found that line was stopped up, so we know that it is fixed. Now, I will go test drive this, cut with it, and run it a while just to make sure. Stand by 1 second. All right, let's see if we can get this put together. I'll tell you a couple more things to look for. These solenoids, I have a video. I will see if I can get a link of it posted somewhere. But there's a rubber tip sometimes when they get hot will pop off of that solenoid, and it'll go up inside and close off that main jet, and which will also cut off your fuel supply. Sometimes, once it gets hot, that rubber tip will swell and go up inside there. So, one of the things to look at. Also, always look at your spark plug. I have not pulled this one out. I will check it, but I think it's fine. But we will look at it, maybe even replace it just because. That doesn't look right, does it? Oh, okay. Anyhow, y'all don't mind, click that subscribe button. Maybe give us a thumbs up. One of them. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at one time here. We really appreciate you. And y'all come back to see us. We'll try to get you another video out soon. Hope this helps you out. Leave a comment down. Let us know what you think. If you got a problem, I'll try to answer. I'll try to help any way I can. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Mm-hmm.